this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Brody. I am joined alongside my good friend and co-host London Beth. And today we are bringing today's updates on what's going on with Chicago Bears training camp, as this is the second official day of pads after a very, very, very rough first day in pads. It was another rough day for the offensive line. A lot of injuries to key players. We'll get into that in a little bit. We'll share our thoughts on what King Pace should do in case he does want to bring some life back to this offense and signing some free agents. We also are going to talk about the defense as they continue to impress. And why is Doug Peterson at camp? Why is he working with the offense? What is going on here? Of course, we'll also get more into the offense as well. Same day, same story, new day for the quarterback situation. But before we begin, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Stupid Car Tray. Tired of your pizza topping sliding, office coffee distracting you while driving, grease and other stains getting on your seat, or you're just enjoying a game on the couch and don't want to lean over? Look no further than the Stupid Car Tray. Proudly USA made, Stupid Car Tray makes your passenger seat or couch a level surface for all transportation and couch potato needs. With accessories like the Stupid Seat Anchor, hand sanitizer bottle, or 100% silicone grip mat, your tray is the ultimate car organizer. With over 20 different color combinations, there's a Stupid Car Tray for everyone. Visit www.stupidcartray.com and use discount code J16 to get 16% off your entire order. Link in the description.
Less mess, less stressful driving experience. The Chicago Bears offensive line, Nick, brings us enough stress the past couple days, but a Stupid Car Tray, which just arrived at my door actually this morning, does not. Let's get into it.
I love it. Stupid Car Tray. It's going to be on the next episode. London's going to give the full review on it. I know that he's excited about it. Tony got one as well, so stay tuned for Tony's review as well. But okay, no more about Stupid Car Tray. Let's talk about the Chicago Bears. The offensive line is an absolute disaster right now. According to Brad Briggs, I never can get his name right. Nagy didn't even know who his starting left tackle was going to be 30 minutes before practice. He's like, yeah, we're going to figure it out when we get out there. In total, at the beginning of the practice, the Bears were down 11 linemen. There are 15 on the active roster. So do the math there. 5 linemen start in the NFL. You have 15, 11 are hurt. You only have 4. It's been a disaster for the Chicago Bears. Shortly into practice, Larry Borom was added to the list with a concussion, especially after doing so well the last couple of days. He's been getting great praise for his footwork, for his hands, for his blocking skills, running and passing, looking like a complete steal and a potential starter this upcoming season, depending on how the injuries go. We hope it's nothing serious. We wish him nothing but a speedy recovery. The injury bug is in full effect. Alex Bars took snap at left tackle, and this is the 3rd left tackle during training camp. The 3rd already. This is the 9th practice. So every 3 days you've had a new starting tackle, if you think left tackle, if you think about it. Then rookie from last year, Latavius Simmons got hurt. They're not sure what. They didn't announce that, making Alex Bars move to right tackle, and Arlington Hambright, the big ham, go to left tackle. Someone that's they didn't even consider was going to be on the roster. Going back to Brad Briggs here. Great source, by the way. Make sure you follow him on Twitter. Here's the breakdown of the Bears offensive line. There are 15 linemen on the active roster right now. 7 are expected to be sidelined for a good amount of time. James Daniels quad, Larry Borom concussion, Tevin Jenkins back, Bedera Tar, I've never heard of this guy. I've never heard of him, so I'm sorry for my mispronunciation. Knee ended up playing today, filling in because the guys are just like, okay, I'll stand there at least. Don't hit me. So the red jerseys were intact. Ended up playing a little bit. Elijah Wilkinson's out with COVID. Jermaine Ifedi is on the physically unable to perform list because of his hip flexor. And obviously now Latavius Simmons, leaving 8 linemen total standing. That still means that there's some guys that are injured on the field. But there is a positive. Sam Mustipher looks a lot better and a lot stronger this year. Cody White here looks great as well. So they're strong, they're focused. There's what keeping the little bit of veteranship on this offensive line going right now while there's injuries. London, what is going on from a player's perspective? You played college football. Is there a way to handle this in any sort of way? Trainers leading back stretches. I mean, there's no one we can go get right now in free agency, really. I mean, I believe Morgan Moses went to the Jets. Mitchell Schwartz is still available. Russell Ogdag or whatever is available. What do we do? What does King Pace do? And from a player's perspective, what do you do in order to get these guys even better? Is it the trainer's fault? Like, I would love to hear your perspective.
Yeah, Nick, I mean, it's going to be a shaky start. I'm really hoping that throughout the preseason, these injuries kind of go away, especially the ones that are having to do with COVID, and that's possibly just symptoms for the vaccination. And then along with just things like concussions, quad, back tightness, all that kind of different stuff. It just seems like a lot of these injuries with our offensive line is just kind of nagging small injuries. No one broke a leg or anything, thank God, knock on wood. Concussions happen in the NFL. I mean, these are big men, 300 pounds running into each other, especially with how dominant our defensive line is. It's going to happen. It is what it is. The problem and the thing that everybody should be scared about, which I think, Nick, all of our viewers, we warned them like a couple episodes ago, hey, we need to be really watching this offensive line. They're starting to get injured. You know, we're really getting scared about this injury bug kind of that's sweeping the offensive line that could really hold us back. And we got ripped apart in the comments. You know, oh, you young heads, you guys don't know anything and blah, 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 blah. And injuries happen in training camp and so on and so forth. Look at us now. Okay. I mean, Russell Okuda is the only last year starting offensive lineman other than Mitchell Schwartz. Yep. That is available in the free agency. Neither of them are going to be probably coming to Chicago. I think King Pace is probably going to weather the storm. That's usually what happened in summer workouts and different kinds of camps and stuff. When I played football, is you weather the storm. It's the next man up, and you kind of see what's happening. But next Sunday is our first preseason game against the Dolphins. The Dolphins have a lot of young talent. They have a very good defensive line. So I'm very interested to see, A, who will be healthy for that, B, how that'll turn out with the few snaps that the first team will get, and just see how they kind of stack up. The one bright spot I would have to say is, of course, Larry Borum. Okay, he kind of got jolted into playing tackle, position that they were a little bit, edgy on him, coming out of the draft. But can you imagine, Nick, if we have a starting right tackle, starting left tackle, if Tevin Jenkins can get injured, and a starting rookie quarterback, all rookies at that position, all under their rookie deals, and they all would be under $10 million. Like, that would be absolutely mind-blowing, especially because the tackle position in the NFL is so important. So there is a little bit of silver lining to these injuries. Guys, like Larry Borum, have been able to have that time to step up and showcase that he can make it in the NFL. The biggest thing I'm going to say is these injuries got to get right. I mean, we just got to put whoever we need to put out there, tell our defensive line to slow down a tad bit or whatever we need to do. Because if we go into the week one against a very, very stout LA Rams D line banged up, Andy Dalton's going to be running for his life. He's not great at that. Justin Fields is going to then run for his life, and it's just going to turn into an absolute mess.
It's going to put them in the position, again, like Mitch Trubisky was put in regards to just throwing him out there and hoping for the best because they needed a more mobile quarterback. Because Mike Glennon was not running around the field. So you need to get these injuries right. I could not agree more. There's plenty of undrafted rookie free agents that you can throw in there for the time being. It's the preseason. Like, it's not going to count. I know Nagy wants to be more aggressive with putting his starters out there, but he's got no starters in the offensive line position right now to even throw out there anyway. So the Bears really need to monitor that right now. I don't know if they need to lead better stretching sessions. I don't know if they need to, get some crazy masseuse and just go in there and get just fix everything like magic. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just needs to get right. And if you go into a season injured, you're going to play all season injured. It's not fair to the player. It's not fair to the organization. And more importantly, said it first, it is not fair to the player. Like, that's all that matters. These guys are putting their bodies on the line every single play. And if their heads are the most important thing, and if it's their body, let them sit out. I would rather it still be their body than their head. Because, you hear all these stories of guys who, they retire and 5 years later, they're unable to do anything anymore. It's very unfortunate. So we want player health to be the best possible. So we're hoping for the best for the Bears offensive line. They do play pads. They did play today. They play pads tomorrow and Sunday. So more updates to come from that. Hopefully we get some good news of some guys coming back, but we'll see. Let's go to the positive side of the football right now, though. The Bears defense at all levels continues to impress. Roquan Smith was defensive player of the day today. He picked off a pitch from Justin Fields, intercepted it. It ran at 97 yards to the house. It looked really, really good. Roquan Smith is crazy fast. He looks like an all-pro, absolutely snubbed last year. London and I have talked about it many times, but Roquan Smith, put some respect on his name. Now, here's something that's really cool. Alec Ogletree, who we just got from free agency, played for the Rams, the Jets, and the Giants. He picked off Nick Foles again and also took it to the house. Not a bad start for a linebacker that we just signed, for sure, making a case to stay on the roster. London has kind of hit on depth, which is a really important thing for this team. And it's starting to look like the defensive side of the ball has a lot of depth. We'll get more into that in a second, because the next comment, Kindle Vildor had probably the best DB practice of the day. London, hats off to you for you said that this guy was going to be the guy, and he's really starting to prove it. He broke up a lot of passes today. He had a really good hit on Marquise Goodwin, knocked the ball out. But watch out for this guy, because he's stopping one of the fastest guys in the league, not only on the Bears, but in the league. And he's keeping up with him. He's a smaller corner. Another Bryce Callahan could be. We'll see about that. But London, you talked about having talent. The Bears have a lot of it, but not depth. How does this make you feel hearing that, like, Kendall Vildor could have stepped up last year, is stepping up now? Alec Ogletree is also stepping up. Signed 2 days ago, and he's already made 2 interceptions and is pressing coaches. What are your thoughts about this on the defensive side of the ball? And do you feel more comfortable about the depth situation on the defense?
Yeah, Nick. Started off this podcast, we talked about how shaky our offensive line is, which also is kind of, for us, really hard to talk about because it makes us shaky. I mean, as a Chicago Bears fan, just knowing what the offensive line has looked like for the past, 5, 6, 7, 10 years, probably since we went to the Super Bowl, it's just really, really, really tough to talk about that because it's like the same thing. It's, we got a shaky offensive line, which is going to lead to worse quarterback play, which is going to lead to us running the ball, which is going to lead to our defense having to bail us out. It's hard to talk about. It makes talking about it, honestly, bring up past and bad memories of games and stuff. But just like every single year, our defense is absolutely elite. Okay, Roquan Smith on that play burst through the B. I'm pretty sure he burst through the B gap on a pitch play. He literally caught the pass and took it for 97 yards. I don't think people understand the middle linebacker position and how fast you have to hit that gap, because you're already about 6 yards behind the line. And then you're going probably another 12 yards to pick that off. He ran 12 yards in a split second, took that thing all the way 97 yards to the house. That is absolutely absurd. Okay, again, biggest snub, all pro. Roquan Smith is the best linebacker in the league. Come at me. Okay, that's just what it is. I'm very excited that it's just what it is. I'm very excited we did get Alec Ogletree. Alec Ogletree, I apologize. He has been a pretty good linebacker for the Rams, and then he went to the Jets, and he had a good season last year with the Giants. I would say the biggest thing about him is bringing in that depth, because Danny Trevathan is getting old, and he kind of still, I think he's around like 28 years old. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure he's not terribly old, hasn't hit his 30s yet. That's really, really awesome, and especially for him to step in on the third team, showcase what he can do. That probably has got him a spot on the roster. Now with the secondary, if anybody wants to go back and check the receipts, you can go all the way back to pre-training camp when we had a secondary video. We talked about the secondary, and we brought up Kindle Vildor. We said Kindle Vildor because Desmond Trufant honestly still has not really showed us much, and he had a bad season last season with the Lions. We literally said this guy, due to the accounts that we heard from King Pace and also other things that we saw on the field from the end of last season, this guy is going to make a push. And I am being told now, and I'm going to continue to preach this after what I've been told, is that he is now pushing for that starting corner spot, the second corner on the depth chart. That is huge for him. I'm pretty sure I looked him in the face, hypothetically, on our podcast and said, hey, man, the door's open. Go take it. And guess what he did? He's took the bull by the horns. He's gone out there. He's absolutely dominated. The way in which he's been playing has been remarkable. And I don't even care that he's littler. If he gets out there and he's hammering people, and he's keeping up with the likes of Goodwin, who, like you said, is one of the fastest humans, honestly, on earth. I mean, he's Olympic speed fast.
Olympic speed fast.
That is just nuts. I am so excited for him. This defense, I'm so excited for. But man, I love talking about the defense, but having, and that's what brings the energy. You know what I mean? This defense brings the energy.
Absolutely. And just to clarify, so I brought up Alec Ogletree's stats. He played for the Rams, the Giants, then the Jets. He played during the Jets during COVID. It only played in 2 games, so didn't do much. But before that, I mean, he's had 4 career touchdowns, so he's not too bad there. He has a total of 12 career forced fumbles. He has 7.5 sacks. He has over 675 tackles, 476 of them being solo. And I mean, like this guy, he's pretty good. Like he's not bad.
How old is he?
He's 29. So
he's 29. Okay. So I was close. Okay. Yeah. I was close.
He's younger than Trevathan. He's in his prime right now. I'm not saying that he has 5 years left in the tank because Danny's, he's not like too late into his 30s now, but it's a good depth sign. It's better than Josh Woods. No disrespect to Josh Woods. It's just that he is a better player. He was a captain for the Rams. I mean, and the Giants. He's a leader. So very excited for him. Let's quickly go into Doug Peterson before we go on the offense. We're going to end on the offense today on a positive note because it's been a rough couple days, Bears fans. But Doug Peterson was spotted as a guest at Hallis Hall today.
What?
He was walking out. Yeah, he was walking out with Matt Nagy. He was wearing Bears colors.
The Eagles coach.
The Eagles coach. Eagles coach. What the heck is that guy doing there? He was spotted in Bears colors. There was no Bears logo on him that anyone confirmed. But he was spotted talking a lot with Nick Foles. He was spotted talking a lot with Matt Nagy. Excuse me. So I think that it's just a guess. He's not a coach for the Chicago Bears right now. And if you don't know who Doug Peterson is, he was a Super Bowl winning coach for the Eagles back in 2018 when they defeated the Patriots. And Nick Foles won Super Bowl MVP that year. So very interesting to see him there. I'm not saying that the Bears are going to sign him as the head coach, but I think maybe he was there just to kind of check things out. Maybe he asked Nagy if he can come with. Overall, looked pretty darn good. And it's cool to see a Super Bowl winning coach at Hallis Hall because we don't say that very often unless it's the opposing team. So London, do you think he could be a future coach for the Bears, or what benefits of him being a guest coming to the Bears does it bring?
It's got to be something to do with Nick Foles. It's either something to do with Nick Foles because Frank Wright and all those guys over at Indy, you know what I mean? Or on top of it, I know that him and Matt Nagy are very close. I know they were part of the same coaching tree and stuff like that when they were coming up in the NFL. I mean, Doug Peterson, I think, is a good coach. I mean, I know a lot of people have really, really hit hard on him, since 2018 when they fell off so badly. Not his fault. Bad contracts, bad upper management, to be completely honest. And if we bring him on as anything, I mean, if we bring him on as just an assistant director or some kind of board, I don't even know, like a consultant or anything. I don't even care. He is a Super Bowl winning head coach. Having him at Hallis Hall and having him around the Chicago Bears is only honestly deepening the coaching staff. But I did see, and I did hear now just looking on Twitter, that he was around Nick Foles a lot. So I wonder if there's something going on there with him and Nick Foles. Maybe he's there to just scout Nick Foles for another team. I don't know. I'm just predicting. I mean, I would love to have Doug Peterson, but I think it has something to do with Nick Foles. Don't quote me on it.
So we'll continue to monitor that, but super interesting. I know a lot of people on Twitter were like, why is Doug Peterson here? And there is pictures to prove that he was there, so you can look at for yourself. But let's go into the offense really fast before we close out for this on this beautiful Friday, even though it's humid up where London's at and it was just pouring here in Chicago where we're at. But the offense, let's switch up stories here a little bit. We're not going to go into Andy Dalton and Justin Fields because we're going to sound like a broken record. We're going to hit on specifics, though. The deep ball throws were the big focus for the quarterbacks today, and both looked great at it. Sharp, accurate to different receivers, understanding the receivers, knowing the speed of them, going above cornerbacks. I mean, yes, there were a few interceptions today. There's got to be benefits to both sides of the ball. Let's just make that clear. Like, you can't just have a shining quarterback all the time, right? Because the Bears know great quarterbacks. We all know that. I'm totally just kidding. But something that's been missing for previous years is that deep ball threat. I mean, Trubisky did it in that 1-6 touchdown game against the Buccaneers a few years ago. He had some good ones to Taylor Gabriel and Allen Robinson. But, Darnell Mooney, all those shots this year that was missed. Allen Robinson, all the shots this year that were missed. That was a big focus at camp today, and it looked really, really good. Not too much on Nick Foles in regard. So that was Fields and Dalton. Not too much on Foles that we know about, minus the pick from Alec Ogletree. But I mean, again, Doug Peterson was talking to him. So the throw of the day went to Andy Dalton to Darnell Mooney in the corner of the end zone on a deep ball, perfectly placed according to reports. So that's really good to hear in regards to Mooney growing as a red zone threat, but also having a guy that can thread the needle. And Fields had a very strong throw to Javay Johnson as well for a TD. It was a deep throw. So well placed according to reports. Again, we don't have any access to these videos unless we were there. We didn't get the tickets. But overall, it sounds like they had a really good day with the deep ball. It's something that needed to go. Going back to a guy I just talked about, though, Darnell Mooney continues to shine. I will sound like a broken record for Darnell Mooney any day because he gets better and better every single day. He is our deep ball threat. Yesterday, or 2 days ago, I'm sorry, London, when we last spoke, we kind of hit on Allen Robinson is not that deep threat guy. He's not. It's going to be Darnell Mooney. It's going to be Marquise Goodwin. It's going to be Bird. He's proven that. And there's a lot of noise this year. He's going to make a lot of noise around the league in regards to his speed and agility. And then finally, David Montgomery looked really good today. I know we haven't hit on him really at all, but he looked really good during the rush drills. He scored a few times, looked explosive, looked faster. I guess the hockey jersey workouts are working out for him pretty well, London. So how are you feeling about the offense as a whole, minus the offensive line? Because no negativity. It's Friday.
Yeah, no more negativity. We got off.
Even though we're going to injuries next.
we got off to talking about in the beginning, the shakiness of the offensive line. So let's put that to bed. There was a rough first start, but we had to get out of it. We had to get through it. Listen, the biggest thing, and I'm going to say this to all Chicago Bears fans, you are not giving David Montgomery the love that he deserves. This man is in phenomenal shape. This man has been constantly disrespected by ratings, by Madden, by, top 25 running backs in the NFL, all this kind of stuff. I'm pretty sure he's like, we can ask Kenny, but I'm pretty sure he's like an 82 overall in this coming up Madden. That is just utterly disrespectful. This man, and I've constantly heard it over and over again, is running through tackles, is not going down after the first hit, which he's really, really accustomed to doing, is just absolutely way more explosive than he was last year. I mean, there's been a ton of talk about Darnell Mooney, and I know I love it. I love everything he's doing. I think he's going to have a phenomenal year, and I'm going to predict over 1,000 yards there. And I've heard John Vay Johnson is just looking extremely fast, and just the deep ball. I've heard all of it, and I love it. Okay, if we're throwing the ball down the field, we are an actual threat to have a good offense in the NFL, period. The biggest thing I'm going to say, though, David Montgomery, especially if, we get into certain situations in games, injuries continue to pile up, stuff like that, we are going to have to lean on David Montgomery as a player and as an offensive threat. And especially if Justin Fields gets vaulted into the starting position, Bears fans, please talk more about David Montgomery. This man is having a camp, and he is just absolutely dominating. Again, no disrespect to the rest of them, because, Darnell Mooney is going to go off. But, man, I love what David Montgomery's doing.
Yeah, me too. I think I want to see more game practice footage of him. Again, more people are just so obsessed with Darnell Mooney right now, Justin Fields. If someone's watching this and they're going to camp next week, please take some pictures and tag us on Twitter or on Instagram. Our handle is below. Just tag us and be like, hey, this is what we're seeing. We want to see it. Bears fans also want to see it as well. So totally agree with you, London. But okay, I said we were going to end on negativity, but we're going to go through the injury report. Just what we do, just so you guys know. Desmond Trufant was added to the injury report today with a groin injury. This guy is just so unlucky. He's so unlucky, unfortunately. I hope he gets better soon. You wish him for the best. You don't want his career to end on a tweak, but man, that just hurts to get on the roster. You posted this one, London. I didn't know about this, but Demir Bird, his heel.
Yeah, he's got a heel injury. Yeah,
that's a new one. Unfortunately, want him to get better. Okay, so I'm just gonna speed through these. Tevin Jenkins back. Robert Quinn back. James Daniel, quad. Artie Burns, quad. Tayshaun Gibson, groin. Michael Joseph, hamstring. Josh Woods, quad. Larry Burham, concussion. I'm only halfway through, by the way. Latavius Simmons, to be determined. Eddie Goldman, COVID. Elijah Wilkinson, COVID. Kristen Jones, COVID. Pat Scales, COVID. Jermaine Infetti, physically unable to perform hip flexor. Tyreek Cohn, physically unable to perform ACL recovery. Eddie Jackson, non-football related injury. Wow. Say that 3 times.
How many starters is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, borderline 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 9 starters.
That's almost the side of the football.
That's 9 stars. Oh my! I'm so panic stricken, Nick. You have no idea. And if anybody in the comments is like, "Oh, like, don't worry about it," I am so panic stricken right now.
And again, just
I don't want to hear it.
And no, I just want to clarify, like going off that, I do want to clarify, we have never put football over players' health. We need to clarify that. When we say panic, just like any other fan, we want the team to do well. And we want the team to mojo, and we wish these guys the fastest recovery possible. We would never wish their football over their health. Just want to put that out there to create clarity amongst our fans. We appreciate all your support. We understand that some people may have misunderstood what we were getting at, but it's just frustrating to see these guys get hurt from a fan's perspective, because we do want to see them do well. And if they're doing well, guess who else is doing well, London? The Chicago Bears. So overall, the Bears. So overall, crazy week from training camp. Again, London and I do not shoot on the weekends. We have done it. We have done a Sunday episode. We'll see about this week, but Monday we will for sure be back with all the weekend updates from pads, because next 2 days are pads. Some people could be back. Eddie, the COVID guys could all be back, and that's 1, 2, 3. That's 4 of the 18 injuries. So we'll see, but more to come on that. We appreciate your guys' support as always. Happy Friday, Chicago. My name is Nick Rohde. Join alongside London Beth, and we will see you guys on Monday, maybe Sunday, but for sure Monday.